Thanks for tuning in. You're listening to Propaganda with Mick and Jacob. Jimmy Kimmel got fired. His
You're fired.
show got pulled off the air indefinitely.
Yeah?
I kept hearing he was suspended, but it sounds like he's pretty much done.
I heard it was over.
Yeah. My thoughts, honestly, I don't know if it called for him being pulled, the comments that he made.
Why is that?
Sorry, so back up. For those of you that don't know, Jimmy Kimmel, he is a late night talk show host. He has his own show. Probably like the worst talk show host out there. I don't find him very entertaining. I don't know. That's my opinion. But he made some comments about the Charlie Kirk assassination, and they were insensitive, not the right timing, whatever. And his show got canceled for it.
Because this was the day after, right?
I don't think it was the day after. Was it?
It was like 2 days after. It was at least. It was right after.
It was pretty close to after. I don't know if it was the day after, but it was pretty close to it. It was within the week of it happening. This is very recent.
Check. It was right after.
Okay, so here's the clip. If you haven't seen it, here it is. If you have seen it, here's a good refresher.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction. Demolition, construction.
All right. So you get the point. The good thing that has come from this, his show getting pulled off air, is that at least we're consistent now.
Yeah.
People were canceled. They were fired over making comments about George Floyd. They were fired over making comments about COVID, saying, I'm not going to wear a mask. I don't want to get the vaccine. That's wrong. I don't think you should get fired. I don't think shows should be pulled from the air if you disagree about something. In the same way, I don't think that was bad enough for the show to get pulled off the air. Maybe I'm just desensitized from all of the comments that have been going around on social media, and that did not seem that bad to me. It wasn't the greatest joke ever, and he's spreading misinformation. The shooter wasn't MAGA. We know that now. But hello, it's Jimmy Kimmel. It's a late night TV show. Like, he's been spreading misinformation since the show began. This isn't new. He's been mocking Trump. He's been making fun of conservatives, MAGA, for as long as it's existed. As long as he's had the job. I don't think this is new.
Yeah.
So that's where it was a little weird to me. I don't know.
If he said it a week later, he would have been fine. I think it's because he said it so close to when it actually happened. Mm. And also, like, I don't know if it's a unique take, but it's a different take.
What is it?
Sorry. I have a different take. I agree with free speech, right? Just like Charlie Kirk did. In America, you're supposed to be able to say whatever you want and think whatever you want, and you should be able to display that and talk about that in whatever. Show your true self by speaking your truth, right? 100%. You have the freedom to do that. You have the freedom to do that and not get beat up. You have the freedom to do that and not get shot. You, however, don't have the freedom to go out in public and say whatever you want and then not expect retaliation from your own job. Your company, your place of employment, your donors, your supporters, whatever, they can decide to not support you by something they said. They cannot legally go out there and attack you or kill you or whatever. That's not true. That's America, the dream, the freedom, the everything we have here. You are allowed to do that. You are not allowed, however, to do whatever you want and expect no repercussion. I think it shows more about just the Charlie Kirk, like, what happened, and then about kind of where we are culturally. Like 2 years ago, he said that. 3 years ago, 4 years ago, he would have been totally fine.
That's what I mean. At least
it's a cultural shift.
Consistent now.
Right.
But then you also have to sit there and say that it's okay that people got fired over saying things about George Floyd.
It's okay in the sense of their job, who employs them, chose to fire them for it. Personally, if you make a joke about George Floyd, I don't think you should get fired. Just like if he makes a joke about Charlie Kirk, he also shouldn't get fired. I think this is more about what he said about the MAGA supporter, the far right, one of their own supporter. I think that's what it's about. You can make a joke. You cannot just straight up turn into a news personality, lie about something, and then go into a joke. Like that's, you can't just do that. He has the freedom to do that 100%, but he does not have the freedom of just expecting no repercussions from his job. Like, I think it's much more about the fact that he just said, and once again, it's a far-right MAGA supporter, one of their own. He got him this time, you know?
But
I think it's more about that.
He says that stuff all the time.
Right.
He's all of them do. I feel like this is no different than his usual.
Right.
This doesn't feel any different to me.
What is his, is ABC or NBC?
ABC. Yeah,
ABC?
I believe.
So whatever he said this time, it was enough for them to think, okay, we don't want you on here anymore. We don't want to support you. We don't want to back you. Totally fine.
Yeah, but then I also think there's no way that he just went off the cuff and said that himself. These things are scripted to a T.
Right.
Everything he's saying has been
But who's
proved.
gonna take fault for it? ABC, or are they just gonna fire their host? They're gonna fire their host. It doesn't matter. They'll find another lib guy that's just gonna say the same stuff.
Yeah, they already did.
It's you're probably right. It probably was some script that he maybe didn't even see at all until he read it. You know, most likely that is what it is. It's just.
He gets fired.
Would you say, "Oh, I'm so sorry, that was our fault," or would you say, "Well, he's the guy who said it. Let's fire him"? Exactly, you would fire him. It just, I don't know. Also, yeah, what you said about going both ways, it is.
Yeah.
It's annoying, but it is where we're at. Like, if you said masks don't do anything and the vaccines are dumb, you'd get fired. If you said the George Floyd thing was not an act of police brutality, you'd get fired, you know? So, unfortunately, that's where we're at. I don't think that's where we should stay.
No,
and I'm not even
and that's what
necessarily
I was-
agreeing with him being fired. I'm just
Yeah.
saying it makes sense why they would do that. And also...
That's what I'm getting into. It's just that we're in a bad spot where we kind of set the tone back in, not just in 2020, it was before that too, but 2020 really, I think, heightened it with George Floyd, with COVID, with all of those mandates. At least now we're consistent, but also I don't think he should have gotten fired over it. I don't think it was that bad. I don't think it's any different than
anything else he does.
Anything else
I agree.
He does.
It's not. He says a lot of terrible things. He says a lot of things that aren't true.
And
he also makes a lot of jokes. Like, that's part of his job. I get it.
Yeah. But then for MAGA to also be pointing the finger at him and be like, that was insensitive. Who wrote the script? It wasn't Jimmy. He didn't wake up in the morning and this is a good one. I'll say that.
Who knows?
No. There's an entire board of people writing the script, getting it approved. Okay? This was not just him. I guess I haven't seen a lot of anger towards ABC in that way.
Right.
Where this wasn't just Jimmy Kimmel. We shouldn't. Yes, he's the one that said it, but he's also a puppet. He's their actor.
Right.
He's not a comedian flying off the cuff and doing audience work. You know.
They chose to get rid of their puppet because he faced enough backlash from someone, from their fans or their donors or whoever. They chose to get rid of him for that, and I think that's the bigger point. You have the freedom to say and think whatever you want. You don't have the freedom to you're working for a private company, right? And you just say whatever you want in public. And I know his job is different, but in public, and then your job finds out about it, yeah, I guess they can fire you. Maybe they shouldn't. They probably shouldn't, but they could because they don't want you representing them in any way. That's like negative, if that makes sense.
No, it does. It does. I just found it funny. I'm like, really? We're getting mad over this? He said a lot worse. He's done a lot worse.
Yeah.
He's done blackface, and they didn't fire him over that.
It is interesting what they choose to say, nope, this is too much. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's a bad sign. It's like...
No, at least we're consistent. That's my thing. At least, it was an insensitive joke. He should not have made it, and he shouldn't have spread that misinformation. Tyler Robinson was not MAGA. We had no idea really what anything was when the episode aired. So, no, he shouldn't have made any comment really on anything other than, I feel for his family, moving on.
Mm-hmm. And people were also criticizing Trump for his response to it. And I understand, right? Because him and Charlie are supposed to be really close. They're supposed to be best buddies. And his friend just got shot and killed on camera. I'm sure Trump saw it. And for him to be like, oh, yeah, that's good, whatever. Here's, the West Wing that we're building off the ballroom on, I think for him, and I don't want to make unnecessary excuses for him, but it could be as simple as he doesn't want to talk about it. It really was hurtful, and like he was close to him, if that makes sense, and he's just trying to move the subject on away from that. It's just I do understand why people are like, oh, it's insensitive, oh, they're not really close, like that type of thing.
It did come off pretty bad.
It does. I understand that. But it's all on who it is. If this was the same situation and Obama was president, it would have been, this is such class and this is such class and integrity for transitioning the conversation away from a broken, hurting American into the future of the brand new ballroom that we're constructing and using to better amplify America's voice of freedom across the land. You know, like, it depends on who it is, right?
Yeah,
so
that's true.
Because it was Trump, it's insensitive, it's brash, it's whatever, you know, which maybe it was, but it's hard to tell actually what he feels from Charlie Kirk being assassinated.
He might not be able to talk about it.
Right, and he might also just not want to and might want to move on from it. So I thought that was interesting, but I just noticed he was getting a lot of like hate for just brushing it off. So
yeah, and let's not act like he hasn't attributed to it either. You know, this wasn't like the first interview ever that Trump has ever had a chance to speak on it.
Yeah,
I thought that was stupid.
They were mad
too.
He went to the baseball game after, and I don't know. Especially as the president, your job doesn't stop. Like, the world doesn't just stop, you know? And as tough as it is, as hard as that is to hear, and I'm sure as he is mourning the loss of his friend, if they were as close as everyone believes they were, he still has his job to do, and he still has to get out there and whatever, you know? So, also, yeah, he could sit in his room and cry about it for a week, or he could go out and give more talks and press tours and go to a baseball game and make some public appearances and do a speech here, you know? But yeah, I think he's supposed to be in attendance at Charlie Kirk's funeral. I could be wrong, but that's tomorrow. So
at the time we're recording this, it is tomorrow.
I could be wrong. I know like JD Vance, like Tucker Carlson, like Erica, all of them are going to be there, you know. But they said they're expecting over 100,000 people to be in attendance, which is crazy.
That is crazy.
In Arizona, his home state. So yeah, I'm sure there'll be some news about that. I'll be interested to see what the speakers choose to talk about and how it differs from like who's giving the talk, you know, if it's all about like unity and peace and this, or if it's all about like, okay, we've had some time to grieve, now we got to actually like get to work and focus on what Charlie would want to see. You know, I'm just interested to be in who those speakers would be, like who would actually give a different message, you know.
Erica's speech when she first I guess that was her only public appearance and speech, not only public appearance, but you know what I mean, her only speech. She definitely took that route with the this is what we do next.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll
her
be
speech
interesting.
was pretty good.
It was, yeah.
I know she got a lot of hate for some of it as well. I think it's a tough spot. I think if I was in that spot, I just wouldn't say it. You wouldn't want to talk. I wouldn't want to talk. But I think she did the right thing by like going out there to like talk to Charlie's fan base and like everyone, and she gave a really good message. It wasn't just like, oh, let's do nothing, but it also wasn't like, it's time for war, let's go march in the streets. You know, it was very like, let's reflect on what Charlie did, what he would have wanted us to do, and then also let's move forward and continue what he wanted, you know? I think she gave a good job with the speech. But, yeah.
One thing I'm so sick of hearing is whenever something like Charlie Kirk's assassination happens, I am sick of people sitting here in the comment section saying, where's the reaction for this for the kids in Gaza? There was a reaction. We never said they weren't important. I don't understand why anything monumental happens in our country and then it's always the Palestine, the Gaza. I'm aware. I know that's not good either. It's very sad. It's horrible to see what's happening over there too. Yeah. But right now, a man just got shot and killed. That is, it's time to mourn for that now too. It's okay. It's okay. It's just, I don't know why they always choose to go back to that. What about the kids starving in Africa?
Because they don't care. They care.
Right. What about the kids in Ukraine? I haven't seen you post about that in a while.
Right.
It's just so bizarre to me.
They care enough to take away attention and focus and stuff on Charlie and from the conservatives for that time being. But like, let's not pretend that like we talk about the war in Gaza, you know, the killing of all these kids, like everything that's bad that's happening in Gaza. We've talked about that for years now. And it doesn't mean it's not as important. It doesn't mean that the issue goes away.
No one said it wasn't.
But it is like, hey, something insanely crazy and unprecedented and extremely evil just happened in our country, close to home, in our country. Mm-hmm. I know we like to focus on every other country in the world, but let's stay home for a second. In America, one of the major right-wing commentators, whatever you want to call them, commentators, speakers,
political
influencers,
activist,
political, whatever, he just got assassinated on camera. So maybe let's talk a little bit about that, and then we can save the conversation about Gaza for at least tomorrow. Like, we've done that already, but at least save it.
Yeah. It just always... It's just weird. And then also, you know, it is sad, unfortunately, the same day there was a shooting in Colorado at a school. Mm-hmm. Horrible as well. Right. No one said it wasn't, and everyone... It's always liberals, always is. Well, we don't see this kind of attention from you Republicans with the kids and shootings, but you do.
Yeah.
If anything, it's sad. It's even more disheartening because Charlie Kirk was someone that actually cared for their safety and advocated for them.
Yeah. You know what's funny is I didn't see the liberals talking about this. I didn't see them posting on their stories. I didn't see them up in arms when the trans shooter shot the Catholic kids at mass the first day of school. So, what I'm confused. Did Charlie Kirk get assassinated then too, or why weren't we talking about that? So we'll talk about the Colorado shooting when Charlie Kirk gets killed. Right. But none of the liberals will mention the trans shooter that shot up a Catholic school while these little kids, these 3rd and 4th graders, are in mass praying. It
doesn't fit their agenda.
That was a month ago, by the way. A month ago. And we stopped talking about it already. So I'm not saying certain things have their time and other things need to take precedent when they happen. I understand that. But it's just funny to me that when Charlie Kirk gets shot, it's still about the Colorado shooting. It's still about the kids in Gaza. But when the trans shooter happened in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, nothing changes. Nothing talks about it. No one cares, whatever. Because why? Because it was a trans shooter, someone on their side that they support, shooting Catholic kids. Someone on the other side, conservative, Christian, that they don't support. Mm-hmm. That's why it's not talked about. Yeah. I just think it's an interesting comparison to draw.
It is, yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of like last summer when the assassination attempt on Trump happened, right? Trump came this close to getting killed and he got shot. He took a bullet through the ear. Like, yeah, most news stories throughout the world will pause for 24 hours. That's usually how that works. Usually when, let's face it, the most important man and politically influential person in the world almost gets killed at a political rally before becoming president, before being elected, when that happens, yeah, usually everything kind of stops in the world for a second, you know? It just, which is interesting because when that happens, the left wing, they still report on it. The liberal press, they still report on it, you know?
Yeah.
So that they don't get in trouble for not talking about Gaza then too. But it's like when we are apparently showing too much empathy or too much time and too much coverage on Charlie Kirk's assassination, then we're being insensitive to the kids in Gaza. Mm-hmm. So
always goes back to Gaza somehow. I don't know how they do it. I give you props for that. Somehow Charlie Kirk's death has to do with Gaza.
Right, like it's his fault. The kids there are still dying.
Yeah. How dare you get assassinated? We need to talk about Palestine.
Yeah, which also recent clips of Charlie Kirk, they show him talking about Palestine too. So if you would kind of let the guy speak for his own and kind of let him continue saying what he was already thinking.
If you wouldn't have shot him.
Right. Maybe he would have stood up a little bit more for Palestine. He already was. He already was saying that what the IDF is doing is not okay. And whether or not you're targeting terrorists doesn't mean you just get to kill children for no reason either. Like, he was saying things like that. Mm-hmm. If you took him in his own words, you might have realized that. But no, all you care to do is dance on his grave and then still continue to talk about Palestine right after he gets killed.
Yeah, right.
This was supposed to be a lighter episode, but as always.
Well, it's been a heavy news week, you know?
Yeah.
And then one other point that I found funny was that an argument that I always saw when they would talk about Palestinians, they would say, well, Republicans would say, you know, if you go to Gaza, right, they would be so quick to kill you because you're a feminist, you're trans, you're gay. Like, you are the embodiment of what they hate and they want to kill. You're American.
You're a woman not covered in head to toe. Yeah.
Right. And then liberals' argument was, well, that's not the point. We still stand for what's wrong, and it's wrong to kill a human. What do you hear? Where is that energy now? Right. No. But Charlie Kirk, when he dies, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay that we have differences, and he didn't even want to kill you. He didn't even hate you. But you still sit here and you act like he did, and you're fine with dancing on his grave. But no, when it comes to actual terrorists that would dance on your grave, then we show forgiveness and peace and mercy. And but it's wrong to kill their children. Just another hypocritical thing I noticed. It's funny.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're talking more about the kids in Gaza, not necessarily the terrorists, but...
I know they're more referring to the children, and it is horrific. It's just funny that their response to, oh, well, you go to Gaza, they'll shoot you on sight. They will, because you're simply American and you're, again, the embodiment of what they disagree with. And their response to that is, well, no, but we still have humanity, and we still care for them.
Right. Which we should.
Care for Charlie Kirk's children. What about that, Yeah. I'm not saying you have to agree with the man, but you have to admit that it's terrible that his kids now don't grow up with a father. Yep. In the same way that the terrorist men, when they get bombed to death, now their children don't have a father. Yep. You would agree with that, would you not?
Don't you, like the left wing would always say, don't you at least feel bad for the children? Like, yeah, don't you? Like, I do. I feel bad for the kids. I feel bad for the kids in Gaza. I feel bad for the kids that were in Israel when October 7th happened. I feel bad for Charlie Kirk's kids. I feel bad for these kids with these school shootings. Yeah, I think you should feel bad. And I think regardless of left or right, you should look at the situation and say, yeah, no matter what you believe or what happened, it still is terrible for the kids, and we shouldn't wish this on anyone. Because I thought the whole idea of the American dream was also protecting the innocence of kids, giving the kids the ability to dream and grow up and become whatever you want and say and think and just be yourself and think whatever you want. Like, I thought that was the American dream. And America, supposedly, after World War II, we became the world's example of freedom. And we should want that for our kids, and we should want that for kids across the world, shouldn't we? But yet, when it's Christian Catholic kids at Mass getting shot, or when it's Charlie Kirk's kids seeing their dad get killed in the front row, those ones aren't the ones that matter. So I think you should have the same standard both ways if you're going to hold it at all.
Just real quick, do you think Tyler Robinson did it? Do you think he was a shooter?
You know what's crazy is at the end of the podcast last week, we were like, oh, hopefully we have some more answers. We do have more answers.
We have more questions.
But it's also more questions. And I don't really know what to think anymore. I mean, we went through the whole scenario last week where this part doesn't make sense, that part doesn't make sense. It's all... I don't know.
Well, like I said last time, at this point, I don't think we'll get answers. I think there's, dare I say, purposely too many things and theories and videos pushed into the media that just cause chaos.
Yeah.
So, I don't think we'll ever get the straight answer.
I don't know. They released more stuff, and he was living with his trans partner, and their text exchange got leaked, and the FBI found it, and they were talking mid 18th century lovers, writing from their letters, it was my love, are you okay? And it's let's remind you that these kids are, Tyler Robinson is 22. You're this is Gen Z. This is dead center Gen Z. And they're talking I fled the scene in my vehicle. My love, I will be home soon. Do not depart from me. What? So we're supposed to believe that these kids are speaking in lingo from 200 years ago and making no sense, and also incriminating himself in every single text he sent to this person. I think was it a text message or Discord?
I thought it was Discord.
I forget which one leaked, but he's incriminating himself in every single thing. He's there's cops here, I gotta hide. Okay, I'm going back to get the rifle. Okay, I'll be
getting
home
the
soon.
gun that I killed Charlie Kirk with.
Right, it's so sus. So then it's is he purposefully, or was this a planned text, a coordination from the trans lover and Tyler Robinson to absolve the trans lover? I'm gonna make it look like you're not guilty, don't worry, that type of thing? Or is this some setup fake ploy by the FBI? I don't really know. It never makes sense.
I will say, I don't think the text messages or whatever chat, I don't think it was that weird. I don't think it was that,
It's weird.
No, I read it, and that is the average chronically online Reddit user. If you scroll through comments and posts of these people, they do talk like that. I don't think, I do think that was fake. I don't think it was actually him, because hearing him speak in old videos, the language he used. I mean, there's a video of
a video came out today of him at a traffic stop
Right.
from like a fender bender he got into in 2022, and there's a body cam of the police officer interviewing him on the street, and he's talking extremely normal.
He even refers to a car as a car, not a vehicle.
He refers to his mom's car as his mom's car, not his mom's mode of transportation in order to see his lover. Like, he says, yeah, that was my mom's car. You know, like, he talked normal. He doesn't say, I departed a minute ago and now I'm here in my
That's
vehicle.
why I think they're fake, but I did not find the text messages that strange. And everyone does that. They read it in some, like, 17th century Victorian. Read it in like a my love kitten.
Yeah.
Let me depart from Orem to come see. You know what I mean? You gotta like read it in the kitten Discord, Reddit.
But that's true. That's actually a really cool point. That's a good point. I think a lot of
That's
people
how they speak. That's just how they are.
They do. But why is he incriminating himself in every single text message? On purpose.
Right. Again, I think they're fake. They're not fake because no one speaks like that. Gen Z doesn't speak like that.
I think it could be a little bit of both.
We do. Trust me. I went to a Baptist university. There's men that talk like that over text. It's unfortunate and it's honestly pretty sad, but they do talk like that.
Yeah, there's some weird people out there, but
And a shooter is gonna be a weird person.
if he's the shooter, yeah.
If he's the shooter, I don't know that
It's
he is.
just funny
but...
that like we see the video of him 3 years ago at the traffic stop and he talks extremely normal.
Right, and that's why I think they're fake. But
Like,
my opinion is that the text messages or whatever chat it was in Discord, I don't think they were that unbelievable for Gen Z to talk like that. Especially if he's some online chronic gamer. He's dating a dude for God. Like, he's gonna be
actually,
a little...
it's a woman. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I know. I get what you're saying. I think that's a good point. Actually, I hadn't thought of that. But it's just, it's too much.
Right.
It's one of those examples where they're trying too hard. Look under my computer. Oh my, what is this? You did it? I did it. I hope Grandpa's not mad because his rifle is super old and cool. I gotta get his rifle back to him. Okay, if he just shot someone with his grandpa's rifle, I think he's gonna be more worried about surviving and escaping from the police than he is about getting his grandpa's rifle.
Grandpappy asked the questions.
And then he's like, put the scope on it. There was a super nice scope that I also used to zero in on Charlie before I shot him. Like, no, you wouldn't be talking about that. Like, it's just it's so performative. I don't know. Could be weird. Could be talking like that. But it seems like you're trying too hard.
It does. There's way too much information just shoved into those text messages that seem...
I'm not saying the FBI, like, AI generated them. It's like, look what we found. But I am saying, at the very least, I think it's a ploy from Tyler Robinson to get his trans lover out of the picture of being guilty, you know?
I could see that, yeah.
To kind of, like, pretend innocence. So, just something to think about. We said this last week. We'll say it again. Maybe we'll get more information on it. I don't want to let this story go away. I know eventually it will, and eventually there'll kind of be just a group consensus of what
Candace
happened.
Owens has that, don't worry.
Yeah, Candace Owens is on
She
it.
won't let that go.
But it's... Hopefully we get more information. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
I feel like we're kind of at the end of the tracks with what they're going to research, with what the FBI is going to release, with what... I don't know.
The funeral will happen, or the memorial, whatever it is.
We'll see.
And I feel like they'll start to die out, and it'll just be like, oh, he's dead. And then it'll be offensive to ask questions, because what do you mean? Just let him rest, you know?
Yeah, let him rest. Yeah. So.
Let his family just move on.
And then
now,
if Utah has the death sentence, you know, for things like this. So if this kid does get the death sentence and they capital punishment him, you know, he's gone, then it really will be like end of case, you know?
Yep.
So.
Right.
Yeah. Well, stay tuned.
Or he'll hang himself somehow.
Right. They put him on like suicide watch, you know?
The security cameras will malfunction. The guard will fall asleep.
Just like, yeah.
Classic. One last warning before we go. The Groypers are taking over the industry, and we have some wise words from a friend on TikTok to look for signs in your children if they are in this Nazi group.
Do you know what a Groyper is? You need to look it up. What is a Groyper? Protect your children. Yeah. No, I saw these videos. It's like, it was like the number one trending thing on Google for a second.
Was it really?
Like everyone's looking up what a Groyper is because they were trying to blame Charlie Kirk's assassination on Nick Fuentes in the far right, in his followers, in the Groypers, you know, and they were trying to pin it on them because Charlie Kirk wasn't far right enough, which is a crazy thing.
Yeah,
you're entitled to
that's
think that,
definitely
but it's a crazy thing. So
this is from a user on TikTok. I'm going to use the wrong pronouns. I think it's a guy. I don't know. Their username is Jax.
Let me see.
Here we go.
How to have the Groyper conversation with your kids. There are so many amazing parents in my comments and in my DMs.
This is a man.
How to dissect this, how to even begin approaching their children about this, because you need to. In my opinion, the best way to go about doing this is to literally walk up to them and say, "Are you a Groyper?" and just gauge their reaction.
Yes.
Some literal things to look out for is if they spend an inordinate amount of time online watching podcasts like Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan is like the tip of the alt-right pipeline iceberg. If you've seen your kids watching Aiden Ross, you're fucked. If you know for a fact your kid watches Nick Fuentes, they are literally a Groyper. If you've heard them say put the fries in the bag or talk about LOL cows. If you've ever heard them talk about looks maxing or go like this.
Mogging is far right.
Play Roblox or Minecraft unsupervised. You should respect your kids' privacy, but pretty much if you've left them like completely un-internet supervised, they're gonna be pretty much right there with all this. Next, have a talk to your grandparents about femboys.
Okay, if you play Minecraft, you're a far right white supremacist Groyper. Like what?
So stupid.
Doesn't everyone play Minecraft? Roblox? Does anyone over the age of 9 play Roblox? Like these are kids. What do you mean? Are they Groypers? Like. That's confusing to me. Sorry. Also, Aiden Ross, I think I would consider Aiden Ross way more left wing than he is right wing.
Joe Rogan?
Joe Rogan might be the most normal, down the line middle person in the world. I don't know. He is right on some things and he's left on a lot of other things. There's a joke that like Joe Rogan kind of turned the election in Trump's favor because he was like, oh yeah, I can't vote for that guy, so I might as well vote for this guy, you know? Mm-hmm. He is the voice of normalcy. Like, your average dad in the suburbs. Like, you know, I'm economically conservative, but, you know, I'm more socially liberal. It's the most, like, and I like Joe Rogan a lot. I listen to Joe Rogan. I like him a lot. Like, but he says left-wing things that I wouldn't agree with necessarily. To say that he's some far-right extremist is crazy. I don't know how you get that. That's crazy.
To group him with Nick Fuentes is a little insane. Nick Fuentes, he's very far-right.
Yeah.
Pretty intense. I will give him that. But also...
He's so funny for no reason.
He's not... I don't know. This guy acts like it's like some disease that these kids are getting. They've got that Groyper disease.
Right.
Get them off the internet immediately.
Also, how are the Groypers... How are Aiden Ross, Joe Rogan, and Nick Fuentes in the same group ever? Where is that group?
It shows you this guy has no idea what he's talking about.
And it's funny that he uses the chronically online because the most chronically online people I know are left wing. They're gay.
Yeah.
They're always playing the victim card. They're worried about this or that, or social, economic, political state of the world. They're always worried about that stuff. You know, actually, the least chronically online people are usually the more conservative, the more laid back, the more right-wing people, you know? So it's crazy to say that the chronically online people are the Groypers.
Yeah.
Which is also funny because we just had an example of Tyler Robinson and his trans furry lover who were both extremely chronically online, you know? And it's like...
Supposedly being so online that they think it's okay to shoot a man.
Right. Supposedly they're being, like, fed this in their Discord chats and whatever. Like, that's an example of chronically online, and I don't think they were far right. So... It's an interesting comparison.
Maybe this guy isn't online enough. Like looks maxing, mogging.
Yeah.
That's such a meme. That's not even. I don't know how that became.
That's such a meme from last year too. Why is it a year later now it's far right? I'm confused.
If your kids are doing it.
Like if your kids do this, they're far right. They're Nazis. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. If your kids play Minecraft, watch out.
Right. So I'm just warning you, if you have children, that is how to look for signs if they are a Groyper.
Mm-hmm.
Just letting you know.
But I guess if you don't want your kids to be a Groyper, I guess don't let them be chronically online. Let them go outside. Let them have fun.
I know. I was gonna say.
Which
So
they'll just turn more conservative, which is funny. But whatever. You keep that line. That's fine. Yeah.
I know. So what's the alternate then?
I don't know.
Jax, let them play outside. Right, like you said, I think they'll turn out pretty good if you get them offline. Actually,
Right. It's funny. Yeah. Well, I think that's about it for today. What do you think?
Yeah.
I'm glad we were able to at least end it a little bit more lighthearted. Kind of talk about something funny because these last 2 episodes have been really heavy and intense. But as always, thank you for tuning in. You're listening to Propaganda, and we'll see you next time.